What's up guys, my name is Orkhan-Safarov and today we will try to deploy Apache web server in Linux and actually we will try to show a string, a predefined string which will make it a little bit challenging because it will be our own server, and that's it. So I will not actually talk too much in this video, and so I will only talk in the key scenes. So let's get started. First thing, we will try to actually mount a repository so that we can download Apache web server. Here's our repo folder for mount process. So we mounted. Now we will create two files in yum.repo.d, which is the child directory of etc. Now we created, and right now we will download, actually install package called HTTPD, which is at the same time name is Apache web server. So normally you have to search Apache web server, but what I'm going to show you is actually yum info command to actually search something called the desired string that you want. Oops, sorry, that was the wrong command. You must search for Apache. So as you can see, we have lots of the packages which has a description called Apache. So the thing that we want to use is the summary matched Apache, which in this case, as you can see, HTTPD Apache HTTP server here. We're gonna copy it, and then what we're gonna do is sudo install thing. This is the name, dependencies, and the wiki dependencies here mentioned. We click yes, and we're downloading it. So normally when you use systemctl starts httpd, it starts. So let's take host name. Oh, sorry for that. Name, sudo commands. So this is our oops. So you may face this this type of encounter, and the main reason of it because it's come from the CentOS, which is a firewall system, is not actually automatically gives the permission to use this to actually use the HTTPD. That's why what we're gonna do is actually give we're gonna give the service HTTPD from the command called let's clear it, firewall -cmd here. So we're gonna use sudo privilege to use it, and what we're gonna do actually, normally you have this firewall cmd. Now this has too many options, so we're gonna search option which adds. How we're gonna do it is actually this help command. We're gonna open and grep add, so we can add to column and so here we have that we have the flag that we want. So what I'm gonna do is sudo firewall -cmd, and then let's paste it directly. Sorry for that. Let's paste it manually. Add -service equals HTTP. Then we're gonna put enter on it, and if we do systemctl restart httpd with a sudo privilege. So if we go and enter again, we will have the test page. So this test page is the default thing when you run the HTTPD and when you actually deploy the HTTPD and you're in Linux. So what we're gonna do is actually create our own web server which writes the things that we want. So how we do that? First, let's create the host, virtual host. Where we're gonna create it? We're gonna create it in the slash var, which is a variable folder. Actually, it also counts the logs that we want. This is actually system file hierarchy, so we're gonna use it to actually deploy our web server. This directory, which is in this case cd var this directory. Inside of this directory, we will create our own virtual host. Let's check it by like this: my web server.com. So this will be our domain name, cd slash www slash mywebserver.com, and because we don't have actually a folder like this, we're going to create it first, -p option. So first of all, we need a sudo. So ll, so actually I'm going to create, after creation I'm going to do ll on it. So let's go actually cd. So I'm going to create two folders, one for the HTML that we want, actually string that we want to show, and the other one is for actually holding the logs. This is going to be HTML file and a log. Again, sudo. So for that, so HTML and log, as you can see here. So now what we're gonna do actually, we will go to the config files of HTTPD. I'm gonna create an access point so that the Apache web server will, rather than actually running the default test page like this, it will actually tell the Apache config to actually look here when we deploy. So to do that, we need to create some bunch of files in the etc/httpd. How we're gonna do that is vim, so no, not vim. We're gonna create here. We're gonna create two files, etc. That's httpd. I'm gonna create available folder first, and then we're gonna create etc httpd enable folder only. So we're gonna create, we need the sudo privilege. Let's go to cd.etc httpd ll, and because as we can see, we have an available and enable folders. So what we're gonna do is going to create a specific document config file inside of the available folder. Let's go cd available. Let's create directly sudo vim available, and what we're gonna create is the config file which has the same name with our domain. It doesn't actually be necessary to actually name it same, but it's a good practice. Config file, as we can see here. So let's open it, and then there's a specific type of config properties that we need to apply. So I'm gonna write by hand, actually looking for the screen. So So we're gonna use these, we have defined these variables. This is not actually the variable, by the way. Let's actually define it first, and then we can name it. So these three, actually, we're gonna attach. We're gonna give the pass the folders which we actually created like about 5 minutes ago. So what we're gonna do is actually give the actually pass of the folder that we created. Like this. I'm gonna give the HTML document to here. Actually, I want to copy this one. Oops. For the custom logs, we'll also give the same. That's enough, I think. So let's go back, and then let's go and create a link of this pass inside of the folder enable. Which is gonna be a symbolic link. So first of all, let's see the link option. target directory. Okay. This one, I think. To see HTTP available, and inside available we have my web server.config. So I'm going to give it to the etc HTTPD enable, and the same name, my web server.config. That's it. So I think it's going to be work. So right now what I'm going to want is ll enable. I'm going to read the enable so it works correctly, and then what we're going to do is actually adjust a little bit configs of the official Apache config file. What we're going to do is sudo vim etc httpd config, and then we have httpd config file, and then at the end of it we're going to add specific, let's put G. So as you can see, what we have here, include optional config.d with everything.config. So we're gonna write ours, which is include optional. We want actually the enable section. Inside what we have, actually we're going to create everything that you see which has an extension of config, and we're gonna actually exit it. So what we have here right now, two we created available and then enable, and we adjusted the config file. So what we're gonna do, actually go back to CD, list it, and let's go to the CD var slash www slash webserver.com slash html and ll. There's nothing in it. So what I'm going to do is create an index HTML. Sudo vim index HTML. So how we're going to do this? So we will go to any website which has the HTML leave HTML leave. There's real-time HTML editors that you can see, as we can see here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna write our thing. So you need a little bit of how we say HTML knowledge. So actually I don't know. What we can write is body, and at the end of it what we're gonna write is Jesus. Okay, so we can write something. That's a good idea. So we're gonna use h1, and if we write it, we're gonna pick and hello world, it's 3 dash, and should we also connect its H3. That's it. So this thing, what we're gonna do, we're gonna write it and paste it like this, hello world, and what we're gonna do, go back. So let's run. Start. Let's stop it first. Stop. Let's restart directly. Restart. HTTP sudo Java HTTP failed. Control process exit error code. So you will face this error probably. Let's check what the error is. Oops. So this happens because, guys, we need to change the security context, SE, security enhanced Linux context of a file, of a folder of log which we created. So for doing that, you need to give a bunch of commands and work with adjustments. So here's how to do that. So first we need to give the enable the HTTP unified boolean by actually giving one value of it, which will be command set bool. So man set bool. It actually sets Linux boolean value. Which we're gonna do is sudo privilege necessaries set bool -p and then httpd /unified 1. So we're gonna give that one value to it. What is the -p option for? Sets bool -help. So I'm gonna use grep -p. Okay, let's go set bool /help. So we don't have any help option here. Yes, this one. Without the p option is given, all pending values are already all are written to the policy file on disk, so they will be persistent across reboots. Then what we're gonna do is change the context of the log file. So how we're gonna do that is, first of all, we need to list it. So if you go to the ls -help, what we're gonna see is a bunch of flags, and one flag is actually the z, which is printing any security context of each file. So how what this is actually, it gives the security context which has already defined defaultly. It's hidden inside of a folder or file. So how gonna that work is actually when we clear, when we do ls-dl the etc www, no, sorry for that, var www html, and html, sorry for that, my webserver.com, and log, we'll see only this. It's a long version. If you actually add the Z option, which is a capital case, we're gonna see actually the f context of that file, which in this case it's an object called httpd underline sys underline content underline t. What we're gonna do is actually change it to a thing called httpd /log/t. So in this case, if we change it to this, we will let Apache to read this file, read this folder. Actually, read the file inside of this folder. So how we're gonna do that is a specific command called cmanage. It's called cmanage, and it's a really big command. It has a bunch of options. So cmanage is a really big command, so it has a bunch of argument type things. So it has import, export, login, user report, and so on. So the one that we're interested in is the f context. So manage file context mapping definitions. So we're going to change this mapping httpd sys content t to this mapping. So how we're going to do that is we need to go the f context, but f context is also at the same time a big command, so it has too many things. So how we're going to do is actually search the man page for it. So man-k, we're going to give f context. So we're going to enter. So we have 2. If we actually, okay, as you can see, we have something like this: cmanage -f context. So the command we are looking for is actually cmanage f content. So what we're gonna do is actually delete this and continue with man cmanage -f context -help. So I write something cmanage f context. So let's go with the man page. So it has not help option, but cmanage f context is actually has bunch of, as you can see, some sort of contexts here. So how are we gonna do it? First, we need to add the mapping to it, and then we need this T options, SC Linux type for the object. So what we're gonna do is actually sudo scmanage and f context at the same time. So we need the add option, which we mentioned before. Let me show you again. Add actually here adds a record of the specified object type, and then -t is actually Linux type for the object. So how are we gonna do that? How are we gonna actually assemble this information like this: sudo cmanage f context -a dash t, the thing that we want, httpd underline log underline t, and then we open double quotes, and then we're gonna write the pass, absolute pass, var www web server my web server.com, and then we have log. I'm going to open parentheses. We're going to write there is that so we're gonna making it in a log file. We're gonna making it with a, just go there at inside, just check everything which has all extensions. It doesn't matter if it's a text extension, if it's another config extension. It just change the regular the mapping, which you're gonna change the SU Linux file context mapping for the all files with all is the extensions under the log folder. Sorry for that, I misspelled. So it's actually not changing at all because it needs to be sourced. Because if we actually use the ls-zld to the log file, let's go back first. If we use the log with zld, as you can see, it's still looking same. All we need to do is use the specific command, which is a restore con. Let's go to the man con. The restore file default Linux security context. It has a bunch of options, flags. So the flag we want actually only R. R is a change files directories to delay file labels recursively. Actually, you don't need this flag right now. Because we don't actually override anything, we just did not started it yet. But it's for practice. It's really good to actually. It's a good habit to actually add it every time. Also, we can use the -v option to showing the changes. For example, if we actually try these two flags, what we're gonna do is actually change the files recursively, and then it shows it gives us a prompt which has the log, a specific log that it changed, which gives you a change. Give me a minute. So now what we're gonna do is actually sudo restore con. I'm gonna use R command, just not gonna use the verbose command. I don't need the verbose thing. And then we're gonna use var www mywebserver.com / then what we're gonna do is actually create the log. And it's done. To check that is changed or not, we just need to use the ls-zld to the log file. As you can see, it already changed the HTTPD underline log underline t. So what we're gonna do right now is sudo systemctl restart HTTPD. And now it's restarted. If we go back to the HTTP server and just restart it, what we're gonna see is hello world. So that's it, guys. So let's go to the summary and what we've done here. The first things we have done here, so let's go back, cd. First thing we've done here is we create the repository. We actually not created a repository. We used the default repository to download the Apache web server, and then we created our own virtual host at the var which is called mywebserver.com, and we added the HTML folder, and then we had added the log folder. Then what we're gonna do, what we've done, actually went back to the etc httpd folder, which is a config, which is some bunch of adjustments and config folder for the Apache web server, and then we've done specific adjustments like adding our virtual host's details to that folder. To that file, we create the config files, which has some specific information to our server, and then we've done a specific config adjustment inside the config file, inside the HTTPD config file, which also straight in the etc httpd folder. And then the most important thing is actually changing the SE Linux context mapping, and what we've done here by using the cmanage and cmanage and restore con commands to actually change the context of the log folder, and to change it to the httpd _log_t, which we changed it. And then what we've done, we actually restarted the systemctl, and the deployment of the Apache is actually changed. Rather than showing the default test page, now it shows a string that we actually defined previously. So that's it, guys. Thank you for watching. If you have any comments, please write down below. Also, for further videos like this, you can actually subscribe to my channel. So that's it. Thank you. Have a good day.